Step into your future with an all-new series, Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
Being a cadet means being open to the people around you.
I've spent my whole life getting away from stuff, letting someone in. It's hard.
I want to be captain. I need to be captain.
Holly Hunter and Paul Giamatti star.
You'll encounter challenges your predecessors never had to imagine.
Starfleet Academy. New series streaming January 15th on Paramount+.
This podcast is part of E2C Network, where we share the whole Auburn experience. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it through a variety of methods, time, people, places, and things. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family. And an easier way to say it, if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing. Episode 157 of the Auburn Experience podcast. I am your host, who's a little frazzled at this moment, Kyle Loomis, and the co-host who is much more calm, cool, and collected because he wasn't having to deal with inexplicable technical difficulties resulting in them starting the show almost 25 minutes late. Austin Scott, welcome back, sir.
Glad to be here. Calm, cool, collected. Don't think I've ever had those three words you used to describe me in any scenario ever. So first time for everything. We're doing just fine over here at the Scott house. The Loomis house is getting it together.
The house of Loomis is fine. The office of E2C is just losing its absolute mind tonight. One of the great things that Austin gets to see is to watch me just frantically crash out behind the scenes before we get started in moments like this when your technology just fails you. So yeah, here we are. That's not what you're here to talk about. That's not what they're here to listen to. But here I am trying to find a way to bring myself back down from that that moment I had pre-show. We're here, obviously, to catch you up on all things Auburn, as we always try to do. Episode 157, and the weather outside Austin, I can't figure it out. It's cold again. It was warm this weekend. Frigid. I would imagine though it provided some pretty great times on the plains for you all. If it was as warm as it was where I am, it definitely was probably even more pleasant for you guys down there. Was that the case?
This weekend or
the week? I know the weekend was pretty rough with some weather and stuff.
Yucky. The week was good. Some back in the 70s, some warmth, a little sweat even. The weekend not so much. It was rainy yesterday and frigid today. It dropped like 30 degrees overnight, which is not fun.
Yeah, that's what we're dealing with right now here too.
So that'll be a fun work week of a little bit of a coldness. I think it get to the 20s later this week. So not fun at all, but that's January. And look, the pendulum will swing back the other way here soon enough.
And you know what it makes me start thinking of about this time last year when that amazing snowstorm rolled through here. Where I am, there is the discussions of some flurries or things that. And that's kind of how it started with Auburn last year. And I know we talked about it, I think last episode and maybe in the one previous to that. I still go back and watch all of those videos and just think about that day, how, I know for you, it was a week you weren't planning on having to deal, with childcare and all that. Yep. Yeah, but it was fun times.
There were fun times. Yes.
I would highly recommend, again, if you have not, go back and watch our videos of that, because I think there's time lapses on there, live streams of it, obviously reels of highlights and things like that. I mean, there's still footage I haven't even put out that I can probably go find. So if you are someone who loves snow and Auburn snow, you should definitely go check that out. I would like to carry over from something we did last week, Austin, to start us off.
Okay.
A little bit of mini show and tell at lunch. We did our show and tell for Auburn Christmas gifts last episode. Go check it out if you haven't. The segment's out there too. I forgot one. And honestly, it's not necessarily a gift, but it was something that was given to me during Christmas. Does that count? It wasn't intended to be a gift.
That is a Christmas gift. It's fine.
It was just, hey, you want this? Here, have it, off my tree, basically. So, as we're putting things away this week, I realized I did not show this one. This comes from my brother-in-law, And I just complimented his tree when we went to go spend some time with them during the holidays. And I said, I really like that Auburn ornament. I haven't really seen one of those. I imagine maybe plenty of others have, but a little mini show and tell of something I'm adding to our Auburn tree. It is an Auburn ticket.
Oh,
So I'm going to try I know the lights and the glare a little bit, but you can
that's
kind of
pretty
see,
neat.
you can see the date on there as well, kind of. Yep.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, look at that right there.
Never seen anything like that.
Yeah. So Christmas 2019. So I guess it's 6 years old at this point. Yeah. Math is difficult. But that's just a little carryover from last week of
That's neat.
a final Christmas gift of sorts that I was given by my brother-in-law. And he was very kind. I think he knew this would probably go to much more. It was on his tree and it looked great, but let's be honest, the guy with the Auburn podcast kind of has to have this. So
I think that looks fantastic. I've never seen anything like it.
It's really, I thought this would have been
I really have
something-
not. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, but maybe there's a series of them out there where they do like tickets style things of each year or something. But
Well,
that'd be
you
a
know,
cool thing.
That's the only physical form of a ticket I see anymore. So that is Christmas pre-COVID. So I guess that might be one of the last real tickets there is out there.
Would it make you jealous to know that I have an Iron Bowl ticket from last year?
Oh yeah, but it's not fancy. It's just like
not fancy. It's
that's
just,
okay. I know you can get them still, and there's like some things they have to do out of necessity, but you know, that the artwork, the creator in me loves the artwork every year.
They were
just
pretty
don't have
awesome.
that. Yeah.
You know, it's a bygone era. It feels like almost the golden age of like comic books or something with all of that. You know,
Yeah.
just all this,
Well,
they call them splash pages and stuff. I mean,
And
we don't
game
just-
programs, we really only have like annual yearbooks now, basically, to preview the whole year, and
Mhm.
it's a thing of the past.
Bygone days. Here we are, sounding like old farts already. And we're
Already.
barely even into the show. Anything else this week for you, sir? Or has it been pretty mild this week for you?
It's been pretty mild. You know, we in our Conquer Club, we talked a lot about our Conquer Club last week. We had some bring up the new high school, which one maybe that's a summer topic to talk about. But the new high school is coming along. I pass the construction site every single day on the way to and from work. It's up near North Donahue. But Plains High School, the second high school in the Auburn area, will be, I think, officially like building foundation, everything underway this week. They've been clearing land for Lord knows how long. It's a giant piece of property. But Plains High School is soon to be coming soon. I can't wait to find out what the colors and the mascot are, Kyle. That's like my number one item I want to know.
Well, should we take guesses? I mean,
I think I know what it's going to be. I'd like to know. I'd like to propose something different than what I think it's going to be. But
so
give me your guess. No, I want your guess as the non-resident.
We have the Auburn High School Tigers. We have the Opelika Bulldogs. I know we're keeping it in Auburn, but I'm just trying to, throw things around here.
And the colors of Auburn Tigers are
orange and blue. Or I'm sorry, for the high school is blue and black.
It's like a royal blue. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe this one should go with some orange in it, just to separate things. I don't know what you would throw with orange though. That is not going to be just straight, orange and blue. Because obviously Auburn High School did something a little bit different, evoked it. Still goes with the Tigers and all that. Do you have a suggestion?
Well, I just have a feeling it's going to be like the Auburn current high school is a lighter blue shade than Auburn University. So I'm thinking it's going to be a lighter orange shade.
Okay.
And I would agree. I think they're the Eagles. What I would like to see, because I've talked about this at length with some friends of mine, and there's all the other colors are basically taken by everything else in this area. There's red and black. There's red, white, and blue. There's orange if you get over to Phoenix City. There's black and silver if you go there. There's not a lot of green. And I'd like them to just be the green Eagles, like the Eagles of old, like
and have
the Kelly Green Eagles, and just be something different. Stand out, the Plains High School Eagles. I think that's what I'd like to see. A long time ago when they were taking suggestions, I might have written or might not have written a long paragraph into their open forum. They asked for it. That they are over the Saugahatchee Creek. And I might or might not have proposed that they should be the green and purple Sagahatchee Swamp Donkeys. That obviously did not happen. But the Sagahatchee Creek High School Swamp Donkeys would have made headlines everywhere. It would have been very unique, and you'd made a fan forever in me. But they didn't do that. So
Swamp Donkeys. Okay,
tell me that wouldn't be great.
It'd be something. I don't know. I don't know. It'd be great, but it'd be something.
But they're going to be the Eagles. We all know it. And they're probably going to be a creamsicle orange.
Plains men and Plains women?
No, they're not going to do it. I just don't see it.
Okay, the Plains people. Anyway, and is it not going to be called the Plains, just Plains High School?
As far as I understand, Plains High School.
I think it should be the Plains High School. But what do they? I mean, they don't care what we think, so we're just throwing out ideas here. Final piece on this, because we do need to move on. But you've got my mind going, and I'm thinking about aesthetics, and of course that goes to Clint Richardson. Seems like something he should be getting on top of. But I don't know if you remember or saw from his piece this summer with his proposal for a alternate reality Auburn uniform, which was really off the beaten path. Do you remember this one?
This is in the Crazy Concepts.
The Crazy Concepts.
I read it every year, but I don't remember specifically.
The scorpion became the mascot, and it was a really weird set of colors, which you really don't like. But when you heard the story about them, wow, how he came up with it, going back to where we got the tiger mascot from that poem. Yeah, there are other things in that poem as well. And then reasons why he came up with those colors which are not good looking. I'm just going to say, maybe they should go
some red and yellow. Am I remembering that right?
I think it was more of like a magenta and a very pale green.
Even better.
So just maybe some food for thought for those out there that are planning the Plains High School.
Maybe that could be after Swamp Donkeys, but I still say Swamp Donkeys.
I would much rather they be magenta and very pale green and be scorpions than swamp donkeys any day of the week.
It works perfectly. They're basically being built by a swamp.
That's fair. Well, there you go. Once again, they don't care what we think because they've already got it figured out. But we know it's coming. The Eagles, and it'll be fun to watch the Eagles and the Tigers play every single year. That'll be a big game. Auburn just keeps growing, man. And I'm not even resident there.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, Auburn potpourri time. Let's jump into all the other things that we need to break down. We're going to start with some sports action outside of the big ones that we'll be discussing. Yeah, we got a little bit of portal talk and a little bit of basketball talk coming up for you for the week. Just a little bit. But there are other sports. In fact, it was a big week for beginnings. If you weren't aware, a lot of the other winter sports or those that restart their seasons, as it were, because they kind of take breaks over the December-ish month, got going again. Some of those were tennis, which, by the way, if you weren't aware, you need to be paying attention to that women's tennis program. A lot of people are talking that up as something to be aware of. You also have swim and diving's been going on, things like that. But gymnastics, let's start right there. First meet of the year. Then they had their preview meet of sorts where you got to see them a little bit. But this team got into action versus NC State in the confines of Neville Arena. And not only did they win the meet as a team, not only did the all-around get won by an Auburn Tiger, but on top of all those great things, which you would expect to do, at home for your first meet, that's typically how it is. Not to say that NC State's not a good program for gymnastics, but Auburn's pretty good too. Not only that, they scored a 197 and more than that, but there's those other points that on that. But my understanding, my understanding, if I have the numbers correct, this is only the second time this has happened in like so many years that Auburn has scored in their opener a 197. Like, this is a huge deal for this team to do that this early, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's a young team. It was a young team last year, but you've got several that are, have a year under their belt, have another off-season training program under their belt. Sophia Bell, Caitlin Young, others who burst on the scene last year and surprised a lot of people, and have now big expectations, and certainly have met those with a 197 out of the gate. Auburn kind of lives in that 196, high 196s. A lot of the time will pop up on a really good day and jump in the 197s. Your upper kind of powerhouse programs, kind of their really good time is like creeping into 198. So Auburn that early, like you said, is very interesting and special to see against a really good program. Was it just excitement on the opening night? Was it just everybody had a really good day? Who knows? But it certainly was a good start to the year with some good individual performances all around to kind of help out that team score. So we'll see if they continue. SEC play starts next week, I believe.
Yeah,
so you jump right into it. This is kind of the first year they haven't done like as a part of a quad match or to kind of start the year, which I'm okay with. I
think that's coming up though.
Yeah, I don't like those. They're hard to follow. Everything's out of order, and it's bizarre. But I'm sure it's great for. I don't like following those as the fan in me.
I got you.
But we were there. We were in Neville Arena for the night. Took the boys and got to see the first meet of the year, and it was really fun. A lot of people excited about it.
What I like was Juliana Huff, who was talk post match with the media, said, "By the way, this is our average performance." And that we're already at 197. Now, that's not to say that they're going to get 197s every night. You know, every judging is different. Every night you perform differently, right? And different locations and things like that. You have the benefit of doing the floor routine last at your place in a very comfortable setting, where it's different, a little bit different. You're out of the way you do your different rotations. So great benchmark to start off. And you love to hear from one of your leaders. That was our average, or this wasn't our best that we are capable of. So it's got me really excited for what could be after what last season was a little bit of a surprisingly good year with some of the talent getting going. Maybe it's all coming together. And if you watch Coach Graba watching his press conference as well, I said, this feels like Bruce Pearl, I think 2 years ago, where knew he was sitting on something, and boy, was he right. Mm-hmm. So listen, only time will tell, but a great start with the win over the NC State for the ladies there in the confines of Neville Arena. Other news, we'll step away from sports a little bit for that, but obviously we're no strangers to construction updates here. I know so many of you love that. I'm looking at you, WT's in the chat tonight. I know he's just loving construction updates. It's been a while, though, Austin. Things have slowed down a little bit, a lot of the major construction. But one of the things that, whether you agreed with when it started or not, I disagree with when, we start doing a project in the middle of football season where there's a high traffic area, around the student center. But hey, it is what it is. But there's a new portion of the Melton Student Center, and you're like, well, you guys aren't students. Why are you talking about this? I mean, this is an important aspect of game day and stuff like that, of areas that you can hang out in and go see when you're there, if you're visiting campus ever. But what they have done is created more of a just more casual like area, and also an area where they can create a little bit more of a event type space. If you look, and this is outside you can go to the Auburn University Student Affairs page on Facebook or probably Instagram too, and see this. But they got like a little stage set up there. They have a screen up there, sitting area. So it wouldn't surprise me to see that space popping off a little bit. It's definitely for students, but for, other times, maybe we could get some viewings of certain events when you can't attend in the very limited seating of other events. I'm just saying, it's pretty cool to see that finally come to fruition.
It is, yeah. It's kind of right outside, right before you get to the Aubie statue, if you're coming from the stadium, around and about. And then it's right outside. It was ABP when I think it's Starbucks is on the bottom floor now.
Sounds right.
I don't remember. But
there's got to be a Starbucks somewhere.
There's like at least one, maybe two. But it's kind of on that bottom floor area that just need a little spruce up. And like you said, they started it in the middle of football season in the fall. So those of you, when you come back maybe in the fall, and that's when you're around that area a little more, you'd be like, oh yeah, Kyle and Austin talked about this.
Definitely.
But it's a little event space. I think they mentioned having some live music at some point. Could be really cool for an open mic night, something like that. Or like you said,
we see you at this open mic.
Absolutely not. You will not see me at open mic night. But like you said, I thought about the screen too, like easy movie night, easy viewing of maybe some road games will be shown there for easy access for students to watch and things like that. But just looks really nice in an area that just wasn't well trafficked, and maybe that helps get it a little better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, while there's not major construction happening right now, well, some, but not like we used to talk about. This is one of those areas where they're still continuing to beautify Auburn, update it, all that kind of stuff. I know the big shoe that's going to drop at some point is the Haley, about what they find with that commission they put out to investigate that. But this is another little small thing where you head to campus. Don't be surprised of something new when you pop over there. And I'm hoping that I'm just saying, when certain things sell out and it's difficult to get tickets for, I think maybe they should play it for those of us that are willing to brave the cold and go watch it outside. That's all I'm going to say. A little bit limited on potpourri this evening, but given our time, I think it's probably best that we move right along into our main topics, unless there's something that we forgot. I think we covered the majority of what we had planned to discuss in potpourri.
Yeah, I think that's about it.
We'll hopefully have a little bit more next week. Let's move into main topic time and talk about some more portal. If you're saying, Kyle, this is the exact same show y'all did last week, I mean, it is, but it's not. I mean, there's new information, right? We're going to do some more portal discussion. I think even the last bit of our discussion last week, you said this is not the last time we'll be talking about this. Obviously, this was a big week of additions. Last week, we started off by talking about some of the departures. I know a lot of you are interested in talking about where some of the guys went that left Auburn. I'll be honest with you, I don't give a flying rip. So we're not, unless Austin wants to. I mean, it's not an Auburn issue anymore. So good luck to them is what I say. I don't wish them any ill will. As long as you don't hurt Auburn, that's all I'm focused on right there. But plenty of additions. We've already talked about the USF angle and how we're becoming the Auburn Bulls in some ways. With that, there's validity to that. The big story of the week, the one that we were all waiting to drop, and of course, like it always does, after the day after.
That's right.
Our show, the big announcement: Byron Brown, your new, effectively and obviously your quarterback one for the 2025-26 season for Auburn football under first-year head coach Alex Galesh. He committed, he signed, he is in the books. That is your new quarterback, folks. Am I saying anything incorrect, Austin? Or am I assuming too much?
No, I think you're right. And I think anyone that is being honest with themselves knows it too. That's your starting quarterback. It certainly sounds like he's being compensated in that way. And he's, outside of anything and everything of what you think of him or whatever, he is the guy who's been running Alex Golesh's offense and Joel Gordon's offense with all the same receivers for 3 years.
And the running back.
And the running back. And so one of them. And so he is absolutely the most well knowledgeable guy on campus that knows this offense and knows the locker room, knows the culture that Coach Golesh and this staff wants to put together. That's a huge part of not just the offense and how things work on the field, but how they want to establish how this program is run. So he's an immediate leader, an immediate captain, and everything from day one. And I think nobody really expected anything otherwise. And given the way the rest of the portal quarterbacks world has gone, it's good that Auburn locked him down early, got it exactly how they wanted laid out, and can build around him and through him as they prepare for their first fall.
And we're looking at a situation with Byron Brown where when he comes in, this is his final year of eligibility, unless I'm missing something.
I think that's right.
He's listed as a last year of eligibility, whatever that is, senior, super senior, whatever it is at this point. So if you're going to have a guy brought in and just basically be assumed number one, you might as well bring all the pieces that you can with him that he's comfortable with. All the star power that Auburn had at wide receiver, sure. We've talked about it previously, about all those that have left. And some of those that came in, we talked about some of those last week, but other names came in. I don't think Chaz Nimrod came in on our show last week, but we also had probably the other exciting one that people were talking about, Singleton. I don't think he was in our discussion last week either. Keyshawn Singleton. Sorry. Yeah, we got to specify.
You got to specify.
I mean, listen, the same last name and they're both wide receivers. So, hey, listen, we just say they, change numbers or whatever. I don't know. But you are giving Byram really good pieces to start off here. Certainly, you've got to still figure out offensive line. Other running back seems set. We'll talk about that in a second. But I guess I'm trying to figure out how to ask this. What should Auburn fans' expectations be for Byron Brown in year one? And acknowledging we're sitting here with not a complete roster, all that. Like, what do you think the outlook should be for this final year for him and the only year Auburn will have him?
Well, I think a lot of people would say, well, this guy threw for 3,000 yards and rushed for 1,000 last year. He should be doing that again. And I think that Auburn fans never put too much expectations on someone. So this is going to fall on deaf ears. But I would pump the brakes on that just because it is a step up in the league and it is a step up in different playing opponents than Byron Brown did last year. And just like we talked about, never thought I'd make a football gymnastics comparison here, but just like we just talked about, is that people play differently. Different things happen.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it's. Excuse me.
Sorry, there must have been Alabama in the room or something. I'm sorry. Oh man, a lot of Alabama in the room for some reason.
Shoo. I don't think it would be fair to put that on the kid, especially when that's a season that has only happened, a handful of times in the history of college football.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he's going to be productive. I do think he's going to be successful, especially when you just consider all the talent that is coming. He's familiar with that. He has rapport. I want to say a repertoire, rapport with, and the staff that he's confident in. What I think you can expect the most is not the things that have plagued Auburn quarterbacks for the past few years, where it's the offense is there's a disconnect or there's a non-confidence or a misunderstanding between what they're supposed to do and what they are doing or what they thought they were supposed to do. All these vague issues we've heard about the last 3 years. That's not on any one person, but
Sure.
But this is a guy who believes in this coach and believes in this staff and has proof of concept of what they want to do.
Yep.
So I don't think you're going to see too many. They're on the same page on a lot of things, and so I think you can be confident in that. Now, will it all work? That's what we still got to wait and see.
Right, absolutely. And so certainly they have the expectations. They know that coach wants, that being Byram, the wide receivers, and one of the running backs that's been brought in. You have to bring everybody else up to speed if there's any other USF guys that come into that. But I think Byram is set up for success here, acknowledging the difficulty of doing the same thing in the SEC. But he's obviously a talented guy. And just watching his interview this week through the athletic department, we've got it up. Y'all want to watch it too. I was very impressed with the way he spoke about the offense and his expectations and things like that. And I know it's easy to get on the hype train, and I tend to be someone these days that's a little bit more skeptical, not in a negative way, but just be like, okay, yeah, we're saying the right things. But I just, you know, when someone is speaking sometimes that I like that dude a lot, like right away. And that was kind of the impression that I got from him. So I could see myself falling in line behind him as a leader, as a quarterback and stuff like that. So all signs right now seem to be very positive, heading in the right direction. And you got to love that after it's been a very challenging 3, 5, 6 years of offensive ambiguity and inconsistency. Still got to fix the offensive line, but there it is. I want to spend some time on what I think is going to make for a very interesting dynamic for the first game. One, because a former connection for the first game is now gone. Walker White's gone to a different team, so that's no longer an issue anymore. But Auburn and Baylor play, obviously, in Atlanta for the first game next year, and Auburn picked up a former running back of theirs, Bryson Washington, which makes it for a very interesting running back room because it feels very full of talent when it appears that we have and retained, as he announced, Jeremiah Cobb staying, are probably going to be the lead back there. So what do you make of the Bryson Washington addition here for Auburn football? Thinking about maybe how is this the number 2? Are we going to have a tandem? Are they 2 different style backs? What's your thoughts on Bryson Washington being added by Auburn?
I do think they're 2 different styles, but I think it's a luxury for Auburn to get him. I think he's a really talented guy. Something over like 1,800, 1,900 yards over the last 2 years. a little bit probably more of a pass catcher, but looks for contact. And I think just has done it at the big level. I think was wanted by a lot of guys and is just a really talented complement to Jeremiah Cobb. So I was surprised too, but I think it's a good – they obviously see something they can use with the two of them. And Jeremiah Cobb was almost a 1,000-yard rusher last year. So keeping him was good. There were certainly people after him. Nice try, Bama. But I think that
rough day.
to see – him paired with another really talented guy that a lot of other people in this conference wanted in Bryson Washington is really special. And hey, it never hurts to maybe let DJ Durkin pick his brain for the next 9 months before they meet in Atlanta.
Yeah, listen, I think sometimes we play up the advantage they can have there, but you never know because
you never know.
I mean, you never know what it's more maybe tendencies that certain players have more than the scheme or something, because that they will counter for that type of thing. So maybe you are looking at a situation where this is a little bit of a different style back. I'll give you some comparisons here. Jeremiah Cobb is listed, according to ESPN, 5'11", 200 pounds. And I'm assuming that's up to date right now. Whereas Bryson Washington is currently listed on another website, 6 foot, 216 pounds. So you're looking slightly taller,
a little heavier,
just a little bit heavier. So maybe different running styles. Although Jeremiah runs very
hard,
strong, hard for what people consider him coming out of high school, and it's just testament to him for what he's grown at. So maybe that's the role that we see Bryson Washington moving into. Is it whether it's official running? I think we recognize Jeremiah Cobb right now should be the running back one. Is Bryson the running back two, or you got a USF guy?
No, I think for all intents and purposes, he's probably running back two. I think they're gonna rotate a lot. And I think too, when you look at what the running back room ended up being for Auburn, with Damari Alston was hurt for the time he was here, left the team, and then Omar Mabson and Alvin Henderson. It was kind of a rotating door of who could give Jeremiah Cobb some breathers and some help. Having a second guy just to keep them both fresh and at their best is never a bad thing.
Absolutely. And listen, we're not dismissing anybody from this, whether we're talking about Mabson, Alvin Henderson, Nakai Davenport. I mean, everybody is going to be utilized. Coach Golesh said, we are going to run the ball frequently and well. And that means that there are going to be some tired backs. So you got to have a lot of guys, whether that is different styles, different body builds, things like that. So you can punch guys different ways. People ask me a lot of the time, how positive are you feeling about the Golesh era? That right there, what he said about the running and seeing some of the guys that are staying in it that we're bringing in is making me very excited for what we're going to see in year one. Couple that with Byron Brown and his ability to run as well. Feels very reminiscent of certain other offenses that we said weren't good enough to win, 8 games, which is very nice about right now.
Feels like a long time ago.
Feels like a long time ago. It didn't have to be this way. Okay, moving along. I get myself into more trouble here. Is there anybody off the top of your head that you'd like to bring up that we haven't? There's been up to 20 editions so far as of this Sunday evening. Is there somebody on the top of your mind that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I think, there's still an area to where they can beef up the offensive and defensive line. We've seen a few, and I think the ones that they've gotten have been good. And there's a lot of people that want to talk about, are they starting quality? I don't know that. I don't know if anybody knows that until you get them in pads and see who can have the best. But the offensive line and the defensive line will always be points of emphasis, especially in this conference. But to have a guy like Stanton Ramel from Michigan State, who Auburn flirted with in the high school days of having him join the fold, to have him have 2 years now of experience and be able to come back and be back near his hometown and be near Auburn after some Power 5 experience. I think it will serve Auburn well. I think Cody Sigler from Arkansas State, not really in any way resemblance of each other like Kieron Crawford, but that's a success story that came from Arkansas State on the defensive line. I think Cody Sigler definitely has the opportunity and physique to be able to be a fill a hole that Auburn needs on the defensive line by losing Kieran Crawford, by losing Keldrick Falk. And then the other guy I really like that I could see in this offense that we've talked about a lot with tight ends is Jake Johnson from North Carolina, who signed yesterday. A guy who has played a lot of college football and has been at several stops and got to be in this conference before. And Kyle and I, we are both very big on when you've been in this conference, you know what to expect and what it takes.
Atkins.
Yes. And so I think Jake Johnson could be one, the tight end from North Carolina most recently, but has been at Texas A&M before. The tight end is a focal point of this offense. And Alex Golish says his butter, cream and butter. And I think that you could see Jake Johnson be someone that's a veteran guy that has a lot of success here. So he excites me as well.
Listen, we've had some, guys at tight end that have played their roles and done it well at times, but it's been a minute since there's been a tight end that has really captured the hearts. And I think Rivaldo in his first season was that, but it just never materialized in his second season. So that kind of diminishes that in some people's minds a little bit. So I think, there's going to be excitement around him, those that chose to stay for this new era at tight end. But certainly you look at Jake Johnson, you look at the history that Coach Galesh has in his coaching track record of positions he's coached for a while, and that one of those being tight end. And that's one that you probably could get very intrigued by. I want to go back to a second, Stanton Ramil. And I want to credit one of our viewers. I don't think he's here in the chat this evening, but Mr. Thomas Manville, he loves to talk offensive line. And he pointed out a good thing to me, which we'll try not to go back and say it again, but it's reminiscent of certain styles of offensive line individuals and play of a offense we said wasn't good enough several years back ago. But his assumption, if you look at Stanton Ramil, he's 6'7", but 3'2". But if you looked at him, he does not look like that. Like he's big, he's rangy. He looks like he's going to be a little bit more mobile as an offensive tackle. So I'm very intrigued. That seems like what we're going back to, and that tracks. And a lot of this, I'm using what he talked about on our Wednesday night show. So credit to Mr. Thomas Manville. But I think one of the things that you're having to counter is how quick and how athletic these edges have become. I mean, think about Keldrick Falk. And think about Kieran Crawford alone, those two guys, and Jalen McLeod, even in recency. It's not good enough for you just to be big and imposing as an offensive tackle. You've got to have the size, but you've also got to have the athletic ability to keep up with these guys. And I saw the guy, I was like, he's an offensive tackle. When you look at his measurables, he is. He looks like he's got some athletic ability on him as well. So,
and just naturally too, like they've said this. I thought there was a interview with Joel Gordon, offensive coordinator, Austin. Good grief, this week, and he said our goal is to score as many points as possible, and they go fast. And I think for a lot of us, we've been missing that. Just go fast offense. And just you have to have guys who can keep up with that on the offensive line. Keep up with the size of the guys coming to kill your quarterback, but also guys who can get to the line of scrimmage after a first down and continue to move. And so I think that's a really good point from Thomas and from others, is that it might be a bit of a change in the structure of the offensive line, both physically and mentally.
Yep, I agree. I think it was a great insight by him, and so we'll see if that continues to track, at least in the offensive tackle outlook. I'd like to pose a question to you, unless there's someone specific that you would like to bring up last minute here, just breaking down.
No, sure. Go ahead.
So when we have looked at the transfer portal over the last couple of years, we have usually seen someone come up from the group of 5 or below to have a surprisingly good year. I think there's something to the having SEC experience, Xavier Atkins, but there's always somebody who's ready to make that next step, a la Jalen McLeod, Kieran Crawford, all that kind of stuff. I'm wondering if the group so far, again, we're sitting here Sunday evening, January 11th, and of the ones that are on this list that are not coming from Power 5 program, Power 4, I'm never going to get used to saying that.
Whatever it is now.
And I'll count the USF Bulls in this as well, the ones that are coming over, if you would like to. But just let me point out some of the other names other than the guys that are coming over from USF. Cody Sigler, as you brought up, defensive lineman. Joseph Simmons, offensive tackle from James Madison. You've got from Howard, Xavier Newsom at tight end. And there was one more, Appalachian State, St. Ferrier, a defensive lineman. Throw in the rest of the guys from USF. Who's the name right now, Austin, that you would feel most confident is going to have the biggest year for Auburn at start in the SEC now? And I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but who's your gut telling you?
Yeah, I'm not going to pick from the USF ranks just because one, there are many. You also forgot our friend from Miami of Ohio again.
I am so sorry.
Long snapper.
My fellow special teams brethren.
The second week in a row, Hudson. He's forgotten you.
Here's my special teams card. You can have it. Sorry.
Unbelievable. But I'm not going to pick from the USF guys just because there's so many of them, and I think a lot of the receivers are going to have success. Now, granted, I think they're going to have success because they're going to be some of the only guys catching the ball,
right?
Which is fine. I want to continue to reiterate, it is okay that we have this many USF players. There's some of you who just cannot get it through your head, folks. They won as many SEC teams as your team did last year. Okay, so it's okay. So
facts are tough sometimes. Facts are tough to swallow.
It's so, like, anyway, forget it. It's over. Move on. I'm gonna say Cody Sigler. I really, really like Cody Sigler, and I think that he's a guy who looks the part of. He reminds me a lot of Craig Sanders, a guy who that can get off the edge and rush. And I think that Arkansas State has proven they have some of those guys in recent years. So I think people are going to be surprised by him. And I just really like the motor that he seems to have for getting to the quarterback. And I think there's a huge hole there to be filled with Keldrick Falk and Kieran Crawford gone, and certainly guys who were retained like Jared Smith and others. But I think Cody Sigler is one who could have a really, really successful year in Auburn. He's a senior, so just seen a lot of football, and I'm always for guys who have just been around.
You went the route of another guy like Kieran Crawford from Arkansas State. I'm going to do comparisons with Jalen McLeod. Okay. I'm going to go St. Ferrier as my guy. Dude's huge.
Massive.
35, 6'3". Clearly going to play interior defensive lineman.
Yeah, he's going to plug that hole left and right.
Nate, where did Nick Fairley come from before he came to Auburn?
It was JUCO, wasn't it?
That's what non-power, this guy's coming from Appalachian State, so he's at least seen FBS level football.
Right.
I'm not saying that he's going to have Nick Fairley type season, but if you're just someone that sticks out to me, I got the height and the weight aren't everything. However, if you already have that to work with and you have the right coaching and you're in the right system, you never know. So that's going to be my pick right now. That's the one I'm feeling the most, that could be the surprise out of the non-Power 4 group of the transfer portal thus far. So I know we didn't get to talk about everybody, but certainly we'll be talking about it again, I'm sure, because it ain't done yet. Only 20 so far, 21 in the class or the transfer portal class. And we lost like 30 something. So 34, I think is 30, what it was.
Yeah, I think it was 32 or 33, something like that.
Plenty of 30s.
Still could be some on the way. You never know. The portal give it, the portal take it away.
And Coach Galesh is hard at work. It seems like he was having recruits and stuff at basketball games. So plenty more to talk about there. Let's talk about basketball for the week. And in all aspects, what a week it was. I mean, you want to talk about the low of lows in the middle of the week for both programs. And then as this point in the SEC play, the highest of highs in SEC plays for both programs. Let's talk about every single, just as a quick preview, and we'll break it down. Auburn men's basketball lost, whether you agree with that or not, in the middle of the week to a certain team. And then they got a big win over Arkansas in Auburn Arena on Saturday. For the women, they got walloped by the number 2 team in the land, Texas. And I do mean walloped. We'll get there.
Walloped.
But then they bounced back with their first ever SEC win for the Tony for the Coach Vickers era. We're really messing up tonight. I don't know what's going
We're
on.
just doing great.
It's the technical difficulties, but that's just a quick preview of the wild week it was. Let's break it out. The men's basketball side of things. Austin, I'm gonna just pose it right to you right now. People are we're gonna hear it in the comments right here. Y'all are still whining about this. No, folks, just because it's a topic we're talking about doesn't mean that someone is whining about something. The reason that you're even here is because we make this content. So if it wasn't a big deal, you shouldn't be commenting on it. So I'm just going preemptive all the trolls and stuff out there. So yes, we're going to talk about it. The question, Austin, was it a good basket?
The refs called it good.
They did. In your opinion, Austin, after weeks and weeks, not weeks, a week of, it feels like weeks,
days,
a week of
hours
of analyzing
screenshots,
everything. Have you seen anything that would definitively tell you that that shot did not get off in time?
See, that's a different question than you just
okay.
asked me. That's
so
a different question than
first,
you just asked me.
Let's start with the first question. Was it a good shot? In meaning it should have stood?
Those are still two different questions. So you're asking me if I thought he got it off, or you're asking me if I thought that it should have stood?
Did the ball leave the hand of Keyshawn Murphy in time for the basket to count?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I just say that because it's basically the odds against the field. Do I think that everything worked out where he could have gotten it off in time? I don't think he probably did. Doesn't matter, though, because the Foot Locker boys called it good. It's a good shot. So their job then is to overturn it or go to see if there's any indisputable proof that can overturn it. And I haven't seen that. The SEC claims they have it, but they're playing keep away because they're better than everyone else, and they haven't shown it. So regardless, the question you should be asking me is, should Auburn have been named the winners of that game? And I do think they should. Yeah.
My reaction wasn't because I disagree. I disagree. I have not been shown enough I have been shown more to support that it was out of his hand than there is not in his hand. So sure. I actually was very on the fence and was leaning it was still in his hand right when I did the post-game show. And I kind of was swaying back and forth. And you can
the screenshots and everything, it's just too blurry for me. Like what the heck? I did it again.
Oh no. Well, while he's figuring himself out there. I could say so many things to him right now, and he would. Oh, sorry, hey, we're back.
Yeah. The screenshots are just, and my eyes are not like great anyway. But the screenshots and stuff that I see is just all too blurry for me. And like we talked about earlier, or you mentioned on a totally different topic, I just tend to be a natural pessimist about this kind of things, especially when Auburn's hurt me so much. But it truly doesn't matter. And I know everyone's like, it does matter, it's a win or loss, but it doesn't matter what I think or what you think or what Keyshawn Murphy thinks. It matters what the guys in the stripes call initially. Yep. And they called it a basket. And somehow, some way, there's a magic picture out there apparently that shows it perfectly without a shadow of a doubt. And I know all the Aggies and the male cheerleaders and all the Colts out there want to say that look at all this, everything I see is still, you cannot definitively tell me without a shadow of doubt that it was not a basket or it was a basket. And so therefore the play should stand. But however, the cowards ran off the court and the SEC decided to cover their hindies.
To overturn a call, there must be what?
Indisputable evidence.
Was any presented?
None. Still hasn't.
To the public. And that's an important classification there. And so that, I think, unfortunately, Auburn, once again, this athletic calendar year has been royally.
Absolutely. And the first thing I tweeted after they waved it off was, so it's the same. 2026 is the same as 2025. Because just like WT just said, and that's where I'm at. That's why I'm like, I feel like pessimistic about it is because I said the same thing when Jackson Arnold tried to score against Georgia. I said the same thing after the Oklahoma cheating play. They're not going to give it to us. Like it's not going to happen for Auburn. They're not going to do it, and it's just not going to happen. Like if you haven't gotten used to that, I don't know what to tell you, but it's just not going to happen. Auburn's going to have to win 3 times for it to count. It's just how it's going to be. And now we're kind of getting into the game by me doing this, and so. But I'll say this, like, high school Bucky boy wants to get on there in post game and say it should have never happened because of the free throw. No, what should have never happened is Auburn give up like 12 points in about 5 seconds.
Yeah,
against a team that that's how they run their defense and run their offense by being lazy with your passes or lazy with your inbounds. Yeah. So that's what never should have happened. Auburn should have continued steamrolling the Colt and won that game. But they didn't, and they put themselves in a position to have to force a last-second shot. So all that said, it's a heartbreaking game. It's no shock at all to anyone who's been watching anything Auburn athletic related in the last year. But it's another chapter that will continue to follow.
Can we just give some props to my boy Keyshawn Murphy, though? I mean,
what a shot.
Ice in his veins. Just spider. I think you know this about me. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and so is he. Like the fact that he's going out there doing this.
Yes.
I mean, I was just at the end of the game just doing the Spider-Man thing, going,
the best superhero.
When I saw, it's one of those moments, I knew that Murphy could shoot. But let's be honest, it's 36 feet, something like that, from well beyond, the three-point arc. Way
A&M didn't know because they left him wide open.
Wide the flip open. He turned around. Not even turned around because I had this debate with someone. He in stride coming around, set his foot, gets the ball and in motion, not even no hesitation, just drains the thing. And you deserve better, Keyshawn Murphy, than what the refs gave you. And we're very thankful that you're able to make that. Which brings us to the happiness of this week. Auburn had a choice. They could let that get in their heads, have 2 really close losses that you could argue should have been theirs, happened and ruined this week for them in this 3rd game. Big team coming to town. John Calipari has all the talent in the world, once again, wherever John Calipari is, and put the wood to the Arkansas Razorbacks. Thank goodness, because they are some of the most annoying fan bases on YouTube. On YouTube, y'all are... I love y'all. Some of y'all are really nice on YouTube, but the worst of y'all are on YouTube. And it is like, I mean, they just come out of the woodwork at random points and just, it's like they send out a woo pig suey call and come out of nowhere. But anyway, so just laid the wood to an excellent basketball team at home. I'm so proud of the guys because had every excuse to get down, be frustrated, to get at each other's throats. And man, everybody played their role. Everybody did well. On the post-game show last night, the complaints, if you have them, are like petty because it was such a well-played game. And I think even Coach Pearl said their best defensive game, points-wise, certainly. There could have been a little few less, but of the season thus far. So what do you think about the Arkansas win?
Yeah, well, congrats to Coach Stephen Pearl, the fastest to a SEC ranked win in a head coach in Auburn history. So
over a Hall of Fame, future Hall of Fame coach,
another future Hall of Fame. Stephen Pearl, the young buck, takes down. So just really impressive, and like you said, I think the resolve to turn around from all that game was against A&M, to turn around and come out and not pout about it, and just go out and cook some bacon on the pigs. Just an incredible game, and just all around performances. Keyshawn Hall goes 30 plus, and just looked like he was in control all night long. Is the bucket getter that he was advertised to be. So just impressive all the way around. Like you said, thought it was a big game for Blake Mustralik. To come in as kind of point guard too. And that's, it can be another discussion later, but he's certainly earned those minutes as a defender, as a teammate. And so very exciting to see and what he could be as he continues to develop for Auburn. That should give this Auburn team some momentum. and some confidence in going forward that they can play and win in this league, and that it's not going their way the first 2 games, sure. But there are things to build on, and you got to bring it every single night in this league.
And I'm asking once again for the fringe of our fan base that continues to represent us poorly and saying the season's over and calling for Steven to be fired. Just my goodness, stop being children and look at the full body of work. I've said this periodically as we've gotten more and more to look at. Auburn basketball this season has struggled to consistently play well against the best of the best. However, against the rest of the best, they have performed well on the road as well. And they also had an opportunity here at home to just really stick it to someone who's really good and show that, yeah, we have the home court advantage, but look what we did. I mean, there's a difference between winning at home and just destroying someone at home. And they did that. So this team, while not perfect, while still figuring things out, their height doesn't have to be their Achilles heel. For some of y'all that still need to recognize that, the 2018-19 team, y'all need to go look at the size and who was the starting center for that team to realize how stupid that sounds when you're saying that. This team is very good. Now, can they be consistently very good? That still remains to be seen. I really enjoyed this game. And is there anything else that needs to be said about it other than it was just a solid game?
Yeah, a solid game, and they've got chances to build on. That's what I was just looking up. They go at Missouri on Wednesday night, and then next weekend will be another SEC game at home against South Carolina. So both teams that are, not ranked at the moment, but still conference games that Auburn can build on. And certainly after that, they'll be on the road for a couple nights, so at Ole Miss and at Florida. So lots to build on for this team, and confidence now to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, exactly. Only beginning. And thankfully, we got that little monkey off the back of getting that first SEC win. Speaking of,
yes,
let's round out our time with the ladies. Now, we're not going to talk about what happened in the middle of the week. I mean, I guess to be fair and to be non-biased, we need to give the full picture.
Walloped.
You want to talk about walloping someone at home, talking about the men. Auburn went to the number 2 Texas Longhorns at the time in Austin at the Moody Center and lost 36-97. That is a 61 point deficit. Coach Calipari said for the men, he said, burn the tape. I would imagine Coach Vickers said some same things there.
Yeah, there's no reason to view that. And look, but that's one. When Kyle and I previewed, that's one of the reasons we do this. When we preview those schedules like months in advance, is we're like, you can see some things. A first-year coach with a pretty young new team in Auburn women's basketball, that one didn't look fun from months ago. And it's about how it went. But
didn't expect it to be that bad.
Didn't expect it to be that bad. And at times, it was short. It was closer than 61. We'll say that. But
I would hope so. I would hope when we started the game, it was closer.
Didn't feel like it, but it was closer. And so, they're the standard right now. Them and South Carolina, and then there's other teams in this league that they'll get to see that are similar. But just like we just talked about with Auburn men's and their resolve after A&M, their resolve after Texas to get absolutely walloped in Austin, to come home and have a Sunday afternoon. First SEC win for Coach Vickers over the Florida Gators. It doesn't hurt.
It does not hurt whatsoever. And I would like to say this, Austin. Do you remember I did ask us the question?
I wondered this. I think
I called it. I think I called the first SEC win would come Auburn versus Florida.
Because what's next? Do you have the schedule?
You said Alabama. Alabama's next.
Yeah,
you said that.
I was thinking that. So
people can go back and check us. I think it was probably 4 episodes ago, something like right before the holidays. I think I called this one. And I would have loved for the first one. I mean, frankly, I'd love for them all to be the first one, but Alabama being the first one would have been just juicy. But I'm thankful we got that. Again, you get to talk about the monkey being off your back type of thing.
Yeah.
Of it. Oh, we got to get one. We got to get that one, and at home as well. So that little check mark is off for Coach Vickers, the squad. You bounce back. You got to be really proud about how they did that. They win 60-50 at home, and certainly it's not going to get any easier. Even though you got Alabama at home coming up next, I'm just really proud of what we're seeing. We talked about this with Coach Johnny Harris of just these little benchmarks in your first year, just kind of knocking those off and beating quality opponents at home, and having a good non-conference schedule. That's all you just need to build momentum in the right direction. I think that's what we're heading, at least in a very young SEC schedule for Auburn women's basketball. That's going to do it for episode 157 of the Auburn Experience podcast. Once again, we want to thank you guys at the start of the show, for those that watched live, for the delay in the start and me losing my mind, Austin, backstage. So,
I forgive you.
Yeah, I somehow he always does, and I don't know why, but he watched me crash out. With that being said, we appreciate you being here, however you got here, replay or watching it live. Keep up with us on social media. Direct messages are open, and we have email, E2CNetwork@gmail.com. Where can they find you?
Yeah, at Austin G. Scott on X on Instagram, and hit me up with anything you see fit.
Awesome, and we'll have plenty more basketball and probably Portal again next week. Until we talk to you guys again, I want to remind you, the Auburn Creed asks you to do these things. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. We ask you to do the same. War Eagle.
War Eagle.